Ronnie, Steve, Desiree, and others. The toll-free number to join us is 800-259-9231. I got a bunch of other important news we're going to be covering as well before Alan joins us, and then when he's on with us. But Brian in PA was bringing up one final point. He just dropped off. He wanted to bring up, well, you heard him at the end of the last hour. He was saying he's heard that they're putting RFID in the vaccines. There are patents for that, and there are patents for RFID in pills that you take. But more important, they have gene marker viruses where the viruses go in and do all sorts of different things to your body, your brain, your organs, but they can also create viral markers in your body to track you. So all of this high-tech science that could be used to extend life and empower humanity, it's almost all being used to enslave and to control. Look, we had upwards of 30% infant mortality over 100 years ago. And sanitation, running water, and the miracles of modern medical science fixed a lot of that. So people fell in love with Western science and medicine because you still had a good country and good doctors by and large. Then around the 1910, 1920s, 30s, eugenics totally took over the U.S. 34 states passed laws for forced sterilization, and medicine got taken over by psychiatry and the eugenicist. This is all mainline history. I mean, you just go research it. It's not really taught in schools, but it's in the mainline text of history. And so now medicine still got somewhat of a good name, but it's losing it because they just brainwash and train the medical people and the doctors and the nurses to carry out things that they're told are good, and most of it's very, very bad. What is it, 300,000+ people die of malpractice in surgeries alone? Hundreds of thousands of infection, hundreds of thousands from bad drug interactions. The most dangerous place in the world is a hospital. And then after that, it's your supermarket. So many people, go in for a minor surgery and die of the superbugs in the hospital. Or doctors chop off the wrong leg. Or they take out the wrong kidney. And it gets worse under the National Health Service. England is a complete nightmare. I mean, you can come in having a miscarriage. They don't give you care for 2 days. You can come in with your leg chopped off. You're going to bleed to death. They got they always use foreigners. The National Health Service for the lower class is all run by a bunch of non-English speaking people with quack medical degrees from third world nations. Hope you all enjoy it. I know I'm going to. Let's go ahead and talk to Brad in Texas. You're on the air.
Good morning, or I guess good afternoon now. First-time caller. I've been a listener for about 8 years.
Welcome, sir.
I have a question and a couple solutions. I was wondering if you heard the spin they're putting on this Prozac affecting the shrimp. They're saying it's actually carbon dioxide that's making the water more acidic and altering their psyche, making them go after birds and various things.
So is that their new spin? Because the major, the major university studies found that it was controlled conditions. They tested it in the Gulf, but then they gave the same amount of the serotonin reuptake inhibitor Prozac class chemical to them. And so this was in controlled water with not higher levels of carbon dioxide. So that is a complete lie. Who is saying this?
I heard it on Shearer's programs. I forget his first name. He has a program where he plays esoteric music and tells the news. Very good program. It's very entertaining, but apparently he's pretty mainstream.
No, I hadn't seen that. We'll search the term shrimp. Well, shrimp killing themselves because of carbon dioxide. The truth is, carbon dioxide has been 14 times higher in our history. We're at a very low level of carbon dioxide, according to the climatologists and researchers, and it's just all a quack lie. Now, the globalists aren't saying stop genetic engineering, cross-species, open-air planting that really does endanger our planet. It's let's tax what plants breathe and what humans exhale. Anything else, Brad?
Yeah, a couple solutions.
All right, real fast. When we come back, your solutions. Then Steve, Desiree, Ronnie, many others, your calls are coming up. We'll be right back. Hi, folks. This is Alex Jones, and I want to tell you about the Silver Lungs Generator. Now you can produce pure and endless colloidal silver and deliver the solution directly into the bloodstream by breathing the solution through the lungs. The respiratory system is the first line of defense for airborne pathogens and viruses. The Silver Lungs Generator infuses the respiratory system with your self-produced nano-silver solutions and also delivers the silver nanoparticles instantly into the bloodstream. With continued legislation threatening the sale of nano-silver products, you can now produce pure and endless colloidal silver with the Silver Lungs generator. Very easy to follow step-by-step instructions are provided, making production fast and simple. Go to www.silverlungs.com today and learn more about the breakthrough technology of the Silver Lungs generator. That's www.silverlungs.com. Alex Jones here with urgent information concerning trendsresearch.com. The Trends Journal distills the voluminous ongoing research of the Trends Research Institute into a concise, readily accessible form. By tracking 300 separately defined domestic and international trends, the Trends Journal establishes the connections that others fail to see or misinterpret. Gerald Salente's Trends Journal allows you to anticipate change, recognize the implications, and take protective strategies. Individual readers from every walk of life can put the Trends Journal, Trends Forecast, and Trends Analysis to practical use. Extra information to keep you well informed throughout the year when any current event of major social, economic, or political significance occurs. Trends Journal notifies its subscribers of their implications. When you subscribe to the Trends Journal, you'll also receive Trends Alerts. Visit trendsresearch.com today. That's trendsresearch.com. Subscribe to the Trends Journal. This information is too important to wait. This is Alex Jones with 5 good reasons you should consider buying a solar power generator. Number 1, new climate legislation could easily double or triple your electric bill. Number 2, our new energy czar wants to control how much power your electric company allows you to have. It's true. Total government control of electricity in the name of smart grid technology is coming. Number 3, in some areas of the country, the power grid is dangerously overloaded. And now new socialist legislation is only compounding the problem. Number 4, dangerous weather is always a threat to local grids. Every year, thousands of families lose their power from weather-related outages. Number 5, a solar power generator provides powerful backup insurance and peace of mind. Folks, I really believe in the solar power generators offered by Solutions from Science, one of my oldest sponsors. You can get more information at www.mysolarbackup.com. That's mysolarbackup.com. Remember, the government doesn't own the sun, so go to mysolarbackup.com or call 1-877-327-0365.
Crashing through the lies and disinformation, it's Alex Jones on the GCN Radio Network.
All right, taking your calls. Alan Watt coming up. Brad in Texas. Quickly, give us your solution ideas.
Yes, I was thinking we ought to make a list of the modalities. We could do this with the sheep out there. So something some of your audience could do. Make a list of the different modalities or vectors they're using to affect us, like the phenol A plastics, the shots, the mercury. And at first kind of lie to your audience. Say, well, this causes brittle nails, this causes hair loss, this causes bad eyesight. Just go down the list. The longer the list, the better, I think. And then say, well, actually, I lied to you. Here's the actual major side effect. Lower fertility. Let's see, well, on this one, phenol A, what does it do? Lower fertility. What about mercury? Lowers fertility, and it causes brain damage. So you go down the list, and as you get down the list, if you do maybe 10 or 12, you can start laughing kind of demonically with a maniacal laughter. What does it do now? Oh, it lowers fertility. Unbelievable. Well, you see anything in common here, people? And I think that wakes some people up. If you have a long list and it showed all the major side effects are basically either dumb you down or lower your fertility. Solution, I think you could use for, probably the general audience could do this if they have a cell phone. We know they're data mining us. NSA does that. Your audience is probably weighted heavier than the general public as far as actual real people listening to a few of them. Always set your cell phone by the radio. That way, when they do, out of the few people they do actually listen to, they can hear part of the program. Maybe this compartmentalized protection.
Well, no, this has been done in the last 5-6 years a lot, where talk show hosts and others have said, search the term government spies or search the term Big Brother or, jam their systems with it so they know that we're aware of what they're doing. But that was back in the days when they were just now admitting that the NSA violates the Bill of Rights and spies on everybody and has nothing to do with fighting terror. Now it's just right out in the open. So we're doing something similar, Brad, when a few times a week we ask the audience to make a search term the #1 search term. We've done this 7 times in the last 3 weeks. And every time we've put out a search term, it's become #1. And then depending on which search term, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 newspapers and publications, sometimes it's over 100, write articles about it. And then, of course, we have an article that has that in the headline that day that becomes the #1 story, and millions read it instead of just tens of thousands. I appreciate your call. Let's go ahead and talk to Ronnie in Texas. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Thank you, sir. I got 2 comments for kids, and then one thing about Iran, if I can get to it, and that is for kids to cherish your childhood and reject the grown-up blues. It's true that with that first hit off a cigarette or joint or swig of alcohol, your carefree days are finished. From then on, welcome to the grown-up world of bills, obligations, headaches, prison time, heartbreaks. Just stay out of it. Anyway, the other thing about kids is I'm living here at the Magnolia Court Apartments, where we have at least one full-time intelligence operative who follows me around to take down this extraordinarily mild, though informative flyer entitled Water Fluoridation, an Idea Whose Time Has Passed. You've probably seen it, Alex. Anyway, within 24 hours, these apartment-approved flyers are vandalized and stolen, censoring this helpful information from all.
Well, what you do is you move on down the road and do it on telephone poles and other things. And by the way, in the next hour, we're going to post the first fluoride flyer that we've created at Infowars.com that simply states there is poison in the water. And then down at the bottom, it gives people a bunch of key data. In fact, Matt Ryan, this is a good time to talk about that. Will you bring the flyer in? Or actually, Derek had it earlier. Have him bring it into me. I want to show people on television/radio right now this flyer, and I want to get it up on Infowars.com the next hour. And I want listeners to submit their photoshopped flyers or their flyers that they've created so that we can then post them with simple messages. Ronnie, I appreciate your call. Steve in Tennessee. Steve, you're on the air.
Yes.
Hey, Steve, you're on the air, brother.
All right, something happened there. Talking about how they're putting it out in our face now, I was watching the History Channel the other night and talking about DNA manipulation, chimeras, scalar energy, the Nephilim and everything, and it was a show called Ancient Aliens Missions, and talking about how, we are descended from the aliens and everything. And the scalar energy, talking about how they can create hurricanes and steer them, DNA manipulation and all that. It was pretty interesting.
Well, let me say this. They'll mention all these real things that are going on and then mix into it space aliens. And I'm not saying people don't have a right to talk about it, and it's intriguing and interesting. It's just I'd like to see mainstream media do TV shows, and Ventura is actually the only person to ever do this on national television, where they take real documented things that the public isn't really aware of and actually focus on things like that, like the Bilderberg Group, for instance, instead of getting into things that we can't prove one way or the other. So what they do is they mix in space aliens, little green men, Yetis, Bigfoots, with real things, and it's kind of then pigeonholed in that genre. And I'm not criticizing people that cover all that. It's very interesting. I'm just saying that why do we never see it presented with the documented information by itself?
Exactly. I just thought I'd bring that to your attention that, that's exactly what they were doing. And as far as the Nephilim and all that, they weren't talking about fallen angels. They were just saying, angels. And so that's all I had to say about that, Alex.
Anything else, Steve?
No, sir.
God bless you. Interesting point. Let me just mention something that's 100% proven. There are so many studies that you literally could probably... they're coming out as fast as you could ever read them all. I mean, it's got to be in the thousands. If you just look at studies show health risk from corn syrup. I literally every day or two see another university study or another government study or another private study. They knew this 60 years ago when they approved it. But here's raw story. I mentioned this yesterday, but here it is as a public service announcement, as a warning. Corn byproduct fructose literally fuels cancer cell growth, study finds. And they're finding with people that already have pancreatic cancer. That killed my great uncle. just last year. What a sweetheart. But they found that the hospital diets are high in corn syrup, and that if they just don't